of the topics or lessons that we have learned this week is about the different types of therapeutic process, which are the transference, classic psychoanalysis, and psychoanalytic or psychodynamic therapy. So transference refers to the process by which a patient unconsciously projects onto their therapist or analyst their feelings, attitudes, and expectations that were originally associated with important figures in their past, such as parents, siblings, or other authority figures. So pag classic psychoanalysis naman, it is an intensive long-term therapy process that involves clients lying on a couch and engaging in free association. So this process encourages deep reflection and reduces the ability of clients to read their analysis phase for reaction. So pag psychodynamic therapy naman, it focuses on unconscious processes as they are manifested in the client's present behavior. So the goal of psychodynamic therapy are client self-awareness and understanding of the influence of the past on their present behavior. So it was also mentioned that the lecture has 6 basic techniques of psychoanalytic therapy and are maintaining the analytic framework, free association, interpretation, dream analysis, resistance, and transference. So these are the only lessons that we have learned this week, and we know we have somehow understood them.
This is the plot of the movie Three Faces of Eve. Eve White is a modest, meek, mousy wife and a mother who frequently experiences migraines. Eve White visits Dr. Curtis Luther, a psychiatrist, for assistance because she experiences memory loss and blackouts. In one of their sessions, Eve Black, a whole new personality, appears. The quiet and soft-spoken Eve White is aware of everything Eve White does and says, but is unaware of Eve Black's activities. Eve Black is a wild child who enjoys drinking, dancing, and being around meals. Eve's marriage is severely impacted by the unexpected personality changes, and she spends an extended amount of time in the hospital. The two personalities appear to accommodate one another over time, but Jane's emergence as a third personality points the doctor toward the childhood trauma that is cause of the patient's personality disorder.
In the movie that we have watched titled The Three Faces of Eve, it shows the life of Eve, who is suffering from a personality disorder called dissociative identity, or what we all know as split personality or multiple personality disorder. So in our week's discussion in clinical psychology, we tackled about the therapeutic process that can be helpful in our future when we became a psychologist or a therapist. So what I noticed is how Dr. Luther, the therapist, Eve's therapist uses a classic psychoanalysis to Eve, where Eve is lying on the couch and telling him everything about her life. This therapy may be a long process because it encourages a deep reflections or deep connections to reveal the roots of Eve's disorder. So in the rest of the film, Eve revealed that she had a traumatic past experiences when she was a child that became the source of her personality disorder. So, watching the film Three Faces of Eve, we observe her different personalities shift from one another. We saw Eve White, an innocent, mentally broken, and Eve Black, the opposite of Eve White, that is an adult who loves to parties, lust, drinks, and smokes. So, back in 1950s, this type of illnesses are not recognized as an illness, but it was called a phenomenon. These films are inclined with the psychoanalysis where our childhood past or trauma have something to do with our behavior in the present.
Eve's White dissociative identity disorder is caused by trauma, loss of her baby, and a temperamental husband. Trauma is associated with the development of DID, and Eve splits her identity into Eve White as the victim of the trauma in childhood. Loss of her baby is the second tragedy that worsens her DID, and Ralph White is described as a temperamental husband who uses his temper to face Eve's behavior. Eve White has different personalities due to DID. She is reserved, modest, and shy, and prefers looking down to looking at her interlocutor, Dr. Luther. Eve White is described as a woman with low extroversion, quietness, and even-tempered. She accepts Dr. Luther's advice and is calm in facing her dissociative identity disorder. She also works as a call acceptor and shows that she can keep her emotion until she asks a caller to wait twice. Eve White's identity changes when a terrible headache attacks her. She has low neuroticism, trusting mischievous, temperamental, and ruthless personalities.
Eve White has low neuroticism, trusting, mischievous, temperamental, and ruthless personalities, while Eve Black has a high extroversion, temperamental, and ruthless personalities. Eve Black is a low, agreeable woman who cannot accept Bonnie as her daughter. She is irresponsible and suspicious of Jane's emergence, which makes her feel uncomfortable. Jane's personalities includes stable, soft-hearted, and unstable. Stable Jane is the only one who is stable and can control herself, while soft-hearted Jane is kind and compassionate to others. Jane's relationship with Earl is unconditional, and there is no betrayal in the relationship until the end of the movie.
Makikita natin yung therapeutic process in every session ng pagpunta ng mag-asawa na sila Eve White at si Ralph White. Well, at first, the symptoms are not yet seen in the movie. Headaches and sudden blackouts, yung laging nararamdaman ni Eve. And throughout the session, emotional pattern is slowly nakikita na ng psychologist na si Dr. Curtis. Napapansin niya na iba yung minsan na characteristics na pinapakita ni Eve. First emotional pattern na nakita niya is very sweet na character ni Eve, which is si Eve White yun, and then yung wild and outgoing version of Eve, which is si Eve Black. And then I think the DID confirmed nung nag-send ng letter si Eve na biglang nag-iba yung handwriting niya sa dulo, and sabi ni Eve na naalala niya na hindi natapos yung letter na kanya sinulat and hindi niya yung sinend. And then after that, after ng mga ilang session, nalaman kung bakit nag-occur yung DID niya is because yung unresolved emotion niya nung bata pa siya. And then, na pinasilip siya ng parents niya na namatay yung lola niya kahit na ayaw niya tumingin. And then, unti-unti na nagde-develop at nagmamanifest yung DID niya. And this is one of the reason why therapeutic process is very important kung bakit hindi siya kailangan madaliin. Kasi kung fast process ito, pwedeng mag-conclude ng ibang disorder and hindi talaga makita kung ano yung pinaka-root ng problem ng isang client, di ba? And then, yung pag-pay ng attention ng isang therapist sa kanyang client is very important.
The therapeutic relationship is essential for success in counseling and psychotherapy. It fosters confidence, reassurance, openness, and honesty, and helps to reveal patterns of conscious and unconscious ideas, feelings, and behavior. Psychotherapy is the primary type of treatment for dissociative disorders, as it involves discussing the disease and any related issues with a mental health professional. It has been shown that treating DID symptoms over the long term requires having the capacity to evaluate and integrate the numerous facets of one's fractured identity. The movie demonstrates Eve's DID by having her use her several personas to wreck her life. It's known as the butterfly effect, when a single incident from a persona's youth has a significant influence on their personality and choice in the future. The story of Eve White and Eve Black is one illustration of this. The movie shows viewers the value of psychology in our lives and how it can change them. As Eve White exploits the several personas to wreck her life.